became Diana Anglade, coming from being Diana Gonzalez for 21 years. I became Diana Anglade when Bob Anglade asked me to marry him, and we said our vows in a church in front of God and our family. We took those vows extremely serious. I can't imagine we were such serious people at 22 years of age. But what I saw reflected in his eyes was the seriousness that I felt in my heart. And I trusted him to make a life with me. And we said to each other that this was going to be for forever. We weren't going to change our mind after some silly earthly thing, because we were saying these vows in front of God. And with the same desire to want to one day be with God in heaven, we wanted that to happen with this person who we thought could help us live this life well and in truth and in faith. We said all this to each other, and I still think back and said, well, we were only 22 years old. What did we know? Whatever we knew, we shared. And every time we had a problem, we asked God. You see, we talked about the fact that the Bible said, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, there he is also. So it was a simple thing for us to grab hands and to say, God, this is really a big problem now. We need you to be with us and help guide our thoughts and the things that we say and how we say them, and mostly how we respect one another as your children. Each one is the same. We are your children, so that nothing would come from our mouths or be in our thoughts that was not okay with him. It's an awesome thing to do, to bring God into your marriage. You accept that he sees everything. You accept that he's going to bring you to the truth. You accept that every promise you make, everything that you do it with God witnessing what you're doing. You don't have to go to a church. You don't have to speak in front of a judge, or at that moment you say, God, this is what I feel for this woman. This is what I feel for this man. And it kind of, this was an old song, straighten up and fly right, because you are being observed by God Almighty. I want to tell you about God. I want to tell you about Bob, the man. More so than God, the husband. He's a good husband. But Bob, the man, had in himself things that he wanted to accomplish in life that would bring him further and further into development as a man. Well, fortunately for me, one of the first things he wanted to do was be a good husband. Okay, so when you get in on the first step and he wants to be a good husband, your marriage has more protection, okay? Your words, everything. There's more glue between the two of you. He will never use the words we see in the movies or watch on television. He will never let his hands leave his sides and act inappropriately. When he says, I will never hurt you, he is saying that in front of the God he believes in, to the woman he has taken to be his wife. No matter how angry we would get, we didn't throw the china. We didn't swing our hats. We didn't hurt each other, not in words, not in thoughts, not in any kind of physical violence. But there are other things about God, like I was saying before, that he never said it to me. So he didn't say, I have a plan. But over the years, he took on hobbies, ventures, things he wanted to do, things he wanted to show me, things he wanted us to experience together. And it was in his role as my man, as Danielle's father. He was a hunter. I was terrified. But why are you going into the woods in this kind of situation? You don't even know anybody out there. But it didn't matter. He wanted to go hunting. He went for his license. I marched myself to the store and got him the right orange stuff so everybody could see him glowing in the dark and realize he wasn't a deer. And then I stayed home when he went with his friends, and mostly what I did was pray. Take care of him while he's out there. Don't let Ben be someone whose mind is warped and hurt this man that I love. And then when he came home with, man, people ought to think about this, packages of meat, venison, and say, Diana, it's ready to be cooked. I never cooked a deer before. I didn't know how it was supposed to smell, what kind of texture, not anything. At the end of the meal, he said, this was really good. Nobody would be able to tell you hadn't cooked it before. He brought home fresh turkey, fish. He loved to go fishing. He loved to go fly fishing. So every time he came up with this new thing he was going to add to his repertoire of things a man should do, I went out and purchased all the things he needed so he could look good at the thing he was doing. So I got him his yellow fly fishing thing with its hip boots, and he sat down at the table and took Danielle to sit beside him and taught her how to sew and glue the little feathers. And, well, I need this kind of lint. I need this guy. All right, I'll find it. I would find it, and then he would show me this tiny masterpiece of something that represented a bug that some fish out there in the water is going to leap out of the water to eat, and Bob would take it home. Not the bug, the fish. I can't tell you I was amazed, because then it sounds silly. How many times can you be amazed? Well, every time he took something out of the water and said, oh, you're going to like this. Let me clean it up for you, and you're going to like this. It had a really good taste. It did. They both, Danielle and Bob, both tied the fishes, the bugs. And he has quite a collection, handmade by his hand, and a little help from hers. It didn't matter what he set his mind on. He built the patio in our backyard. Honey, how'd you build that all by yourself? Well, I did pretty good. I did fall to the ground once, but I did pretty good. He has heaters in it. And we would go outside and sit, as long as it wasn't raining or freezing rain. And we would watch TV. He hooked up the television. He hooked up the music. We listened to the songs that we liked from years ago and sat close to each other and enjoy ourselves in this house that Bob built. Every time I think about Bob, I think about his increasing passion to develop himself in the skills he thought made him a man. So in my mind, in my eyes, he was my man. I didn't know anybody around that did this kind of stuff. I mean, if we wanted to, we could have gone up north and gone into Canada or Alaska and built ourselves a house and lived up there and been like wild people. He made furniture. In order to make furniture, he needed saws. And so his Christmas presents came from Home Depot and Sears. All I had to know is what he was, what direction he was going. And then I go through the catalogs, and I'm like, baby, what does this thing do? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And what about this thing? Oh, I really need that. Okay. And that Christmas, there would be a big box with this and another big box with that. And by the next Christmas, there were Adirondack chairs in the basement. There were little banks he made, little penguins, just following a plan and let the kids save their money. If the car broke down, he looked it over, and then he would send me to get the car fixed because he worked a lot. And he would send me to get the car fixed, and he would say, don't tell them you need this. Don't let them tell you you need that or that or that. This is what's wrong with the car. If they don't want to do it, back the car out of the shop, come home. I did exactly what he said. Why would I doubt him? So we didn't spend tons of money at the garages all over Long Island because they were talking to Bob's wife. And there was no way they would convince me I needed new tires if he said I didn't. Now that took something from me because him, like I said, being a man's man, I had to be that man's woman. I had to accept that his dreams and his thoughts and all of that was as important as my decorating the house to look pretty, as my learning how to cook special dishes. And I did. He has a conga. He played it once in a while. I wish we had lived in Manhattan. He would have loved to go out with the men while they were playing outside in the streets and join them. And mostly he had is music. I don't know how many hundreds of albums he's collected along the way of all the music we both love. We could both join in on someone singing, and that's our words. And not so good a voice as we got older, but that's the words and sing the song. Music is my companion now. anything I put on is because it reminds me of Bob. So the other thing, I suppose, it's not the last thing. It really isn't, because we got married March 22nd of 75. By September of 76, he was working at the racetrack. And he put in all the overtime, the this, the that. I said, David, why you gotta work so hard? We're doing okay. He said, okay isn't our goal. Our goal is to make sure that if anything happens to me, you and Danielle would be safe. He didn't like so much the fact that I loved to buy Christmas presents for anybody. You walk past down the street, wait a minute, I got here something for you. That I got from my mom. Okay? People would come visit us, and it's like, wow, you're doing just like your mom. Yeah, because that's what Christmas is about. It's about giving. Okay? And as the babies were born, the outfits got bought, and every new toy was out there being played at someone's house. And he would look at me and he would help me wrap the gifts. He was better than I was. And he would help me wrap the gifts. And he'd say, well, we've got 7 shopping bags this year. That's not too bad. He didn't know where I was going to stop, who I was going to adopt next, which family, people at the track, people from his side of the family, my side of the family. Food to cook. A lady showed up, knocked at the door one Christmas. I said, Bob, come listen to this lady. She had just been moved into one of those apartments for those that were homeless. I said, she's got nothing. He said, I mean, go with her. I'll go to her house. I'll see what kind of a place it is. You start getting together some stuff. Bad idea. Don't give Diana freedom to go pick up, oh, well, of course, she needs health care equipment. So she needs a thermometer, she needs Band-Aids, she needs this, she needs that. Okay, I get a little box of that. She needs food. And these pots are really starting to look old. I think she needs pots. And on and on and on and on. He came back. He was not surprised. He went trips back and forth, putting it into the car, took her to her new place. I personally never saw her again. But I know she got a new start in her new place. And I know that that was done because Bob believed in helping homeless women and children, people who were poor, people who needed things. The last thing I want to say is that he believed in helping the world. Now, you didn't see him signing up for this agency or that agency, Salvation Army, help the kids, feed the poor, no. But if he heard on TV that there was a genocide going on in Africa, he would say to Anna, look it up and see what we can send them. And we did. When he saw a group of children who were starving, I heard a funny sound and I looked his way and the tears were coming down his face. This is the man I've been married to for almost 47 years. I don't think he'll make it to sainthood. I don't know about that. But I know one thing, he lived a good life. He was a good man. He left me carefully attended to. And I thank God with all my heart that he gave me a chance to meet and marry this man and have all this time with him. I would gladly do it again.